Hi, I'm Lena. My daughter Sophia came into this world 8 weeks early, weighing just under 4 pounds. Every day since has been a battle. Monitors beeping, oxygen levels dipping, and my heart stopping each time an alarm sounds. How's our little fighter doing today? Ryan kissed my forehead as he handed me my morning coffee. My husband has been my rock through all this. Better. The nurse says she's gaining weight right on schedule now. I glanced at the special equipment surrounding Sophia's crib, the oxygen monitor, the apnea alarm, the feeding pump. Each piece keeping our fragile daughter alive and growing stronger every day since we brought her home from the NICU 2 weeks ago. Your parents called again. They're stopping by this afternoon with Jake. My stomach immediately nodded. Great. Just what we need. They're family, Lena. They should meet their granddaughter properly. You mean like they properly skipped her birth because Jake had a basketball game? Or properly visited the NICU once in 6 weeks because they were busy helping him move into his new apartment? Ryan sighed. I know they play favorites. I've seen it for years, but maybe Sophia will change things. I'd been the family disappointment since kindergarten. My straight A's were never as impressive as Jake's C+ with a touchdown. My scholarship wasn't as exciting as Jake's community college acceptance. My wedding was rushed because Jake needed money for a car. The doorbell rang at 3 p.m. sharp. There's our little grandson, Mom boomed as she entered, arms loaded with pink gift bags. Granddaughter, Mom. We have a daughter. Of course. Just a slip. She's so tiny. Dad awkwardly patted Ryan's shoulder. She'll toughen up, son. Don't worry. Jake strutted in last, not even looking toward the nursery. Got any beer? We don't keep alcohol in the house with all of Sophia's medications, I explained. Lame, Jake muttered. I walked them through Sophia's care routine, explaining each machine. Mom kept interrupting to tell stories about how easy Jake was as a baby. Dad checked sports scores on his phone. Her oxygen levels need to stay above 92, I explained. If they drop, this alarm— Cool setup, Jake interrupted. Like a mini hospital. After 20 minutes of them barely paying attention, I excused myself to use the bathroom. When I returned, I heard it. The high-pitched alarm from Sophia's room. I ran, heart in my throat. The oxygen monitor showed disconnected status. Sophia's lips had a bluish tint. What happened? I screamed, reconnecting the wire. Mom looked annoyed. Jake needed to charge his phone, and this was the closest outlet. I looked down to see my brother's phone plugged into the wall, exactly where Sophia's oxygen monitor had been. Are you insane? This keeps her breathing. I scooped up my daughter, whose tiny face was turning darker blue by the second. Ryan rushed into the room, his face draining of color when he saw Sophia. He immediately grabbed the portable oxygen tank we kept as backup. What the hell happened? He connected the mask to Sophia's tiny face while I held her trembling body. They unplugged her monitor to charge a damn phone. I was shaking with rage as Sophia's color slowly returned. Mom waved her hand dismissively. Don't be so dramatic, she's fine. Fine. She was turning blue. I checked Sophia's vitals as the monitor reconnected. Her oxygen had dropped to 84%. Dad cleared his throat. It was just for a minute, Lena. Stop overreacting. Yeah, chill out, sis. How was I supposed to know that specific plug was important? Jake didn't even look up from his charging phone. Maybe the medical equipment attached to it was a clue? Ryan snapped, still monitoring Sophia closely. The doorbell rang. It was Nurse Melissa for Sophia's scheduled checkup. Everything okay in here? I heard yelling from outside. She noticed Sophia on the oxygen. I explained what happened while Melissa examined Sophia. My parents stood awkwardly in the corner. Jake sprawled on the couch, scrolling through his phone. This is extremely serious, Melissa said firmly. Oxygen desaturation in preemies can lead to brain damage or worse. I'm documenting this for Dr. Patel. Brain damage? Ryan whispered, squeezing my hand. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Mom rolled her eyes. We raised 2 children just fine without all these machines and alarms. After a full-term pregnancy, I shot back. Sophia has underdeveloped lungs. Jake had health issues too, and we managed. Dad patted Jake's shoulder. A milk allergy isn't the same as premature lungs, Dad. Jake finally looked up. You've always been the dramatic one, Lena. Always competing for attention. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Competing? Your phone charger almost killed my daughter. The next morning, we met with Dr. Patel, who reviewed Melissa's notes with grave concern. What happened yesterday could have been catastrophic. Even brief oxygen deprivation can cause permanent damage in premature infants. Will she be okay? Ryan asked, his voice cracking. Her tests look normal, but we'll monitor her closely. I'm documenting this incident in detail. When we got home, my parents were waiting with a half-hearted apology. We're sorry if we upset you, but you need to understand we didn't mean any harm. Mom handed me a gift bag. We got Sophia this cute outfit to make up for it. Make up for it? You endangered her life and you're giving me a onesie? See, Ryan? Dad sighed. She's impossible to please. We said we're sorry. What more do you want? Jake shrugged. I looked at their unapologetic faces, at Ryan holding our daughter protectively, at the medical equipment they'd so casually disconnected. You know what? You're right. No apology could ever be enough. It's time I finally did something about this. After kicking my family out, I called Marcus, our family attorney who'd helped with Sophia's medical paperwork. This is serious, Lena. Child endangerment isn't something to take lightly. Marcus shuffled through his notes as we sat in his office the next day. So I can press charges? You could, but family court is messy. Proving malicious intent versus negligence is difficult. Do you have any documentation? Nurse Melissa's report and Dr. Patel's medical assessment. Good start, but we need more. Their exact words, their attitude about the incident? I chewed my lip. They'll never admit it again if they know I'm recording. Marcus leaned forward. I didn't suggest recording anything. But hypothetically, California is a two-party consent state for recordings, unless there's concern for safety of a minor. On my way home, I called my college friend Tara, who worked in social services. Girl, this is beyond toxic. This is dangerous. Tara's voice crackled through my car speakers. What would social services do in a case like this? Honestly, we'd document a pattern. One incident might not be enough unless it was severe. Was Sophia hospitalized? No, we caught it in time. Then build your case. Document everything. And Lena, set boundaries now before something worse happens. That night, Ryan helped me set up small recording devices throughout our living room. You sure about this? Ryan tested the audio on his phone. They've gotten away with treating me like garbage my whole life. But endangering Sophia? That crosses every line. 3 days later, I invited them for a reconciliation dinner. They arrived right on time, Mom with a casserole, Dad with his usual indifference, and Jake with nothing but attitude. We need to clear the air about what happened with Sophia. I placed coffee mugs on the table, trying to keep my hands from shaking. Oh, honey, we've moved past that little misunderstanding. Mom patted my hand. Little misunderstanding? You unplugged medical equipment. Not this again. Jake rolled his eyes. It was an honest mistake. Would you make that honest mistake with your own kid? Of course not. But I'd also not leave important plugs where anyone could mess with them. That's on you. On me? So I'm responsible for you unplugging my daughter's oxygen? Dad cleared his throat. What Jake means is you've always been careless. Remember your hamster in 3rd grade? I was 8, and we're talking about my human child. Look, Mom interjected. We said we're sorry even though it wasn't really our fault. What more do you want from us? I want you to acknowledge what you did was dangerous. Oh, please, Jake scoffed. She was barely blue. When I had my tonsils out, this isn't about you, Jake. For once in your life, this isn't about you. There you go again, always jealous of your brother. Mom shook her head. Honestly, if you'd been more responsible and not had a premature baby... Excuse me? Ryan finally spoke up, his voice dangerously quiet. Well, if she'd taken better care of herself during pregnancy, I'd heard enough. I pulled out my phone and played back Mom's last statement. What are you doing? Dad demanded. Getting evidence. I've recorded this entire conversation. Along with Dr. Patel's medical report and Nurse Melissa's witness statement, we now have documented proof of your endangerment and your complete lack of remorse. You can't record us without permission! Jake jumped up. Actually, when it involves the safety of a minor, she can... Ryan stood beside me. What exactly are you planning to do with this? Dad's face had gone pale. I leaned forward. Let me tell you exactly what happens next. First, I'm filing a restraining order. None of you will come near Sophia again. I placed the recordings on the table between us. Second, Marcus is submitting these to family court along with the medical documentation. Mom's face crumpled. You wouldn't drag your own family through court? The same way you wouldn't unplug your granddaughter's oxygen? Watch me. Jake slammed his fist on the table. This is ridiculous! Nobody's going to care about some stupid plug! Tell that to Child Protective Services. Tara already filed a preliminary report. The color drained from Dad's face. CPS? Lena, you're destroying this family over nothing. You nearly destroyed my daughter over a phone charge. 2 weeks later, we sat in the courthouse as the judge reviewed our case. My Aunt Carol approached me in the hallway during recess. Half the family is furious with you for airing dirty laundry. The other half can't believe what they did. I don't care what anyone thinks anymore, Aunt Carol. This is about protecting Sophia. The judge granted the restraining order and mandated parenting classes for my parents. The local paper ran a small story about the case, nothing major, but enough that people in our community started talking. Did you see Jake got passed over for that big promotion? Ryan showed me the social media post a month later. How do you know it's related? His boss's wife is on the hospital board with Dr. Patel. Plus, they run background checks for executive positions. Child endangerment allegations tend to show up. I felt no satisfaction, just relief that consequences finally existed. 3 months after the court date, Mom called from a new number I hadn't blocked. Please, Lena, this has gone too far. We've lost friends, Dad's golf buddies won't speak to him, and Jake had to take a job in another state. We've done those stupid parenting classes. We're sorry. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you're facing consequences? Both. Either. Whatever you want to hear. We're family. No, family doesn't endanger babies for phone chargers. Family doesn't blame victims. The restraining order stays in place. You've always been so stubborn, even as a child. I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. 1 year later, Sophia celebrated her first birthday surrounded by Ryan's family, Aunt Carol, Tara, and several new friends we'd made through the preemie parents support group. She's hitting all her milestones now, I told Melissa, who'd become a close friend after testifying for us. The neurologist says there's no lasting damage. Sophia toddled across the floor, chubby legs still a bit wobbly but strong. You did the right thing, Marcus said, watching her play. Most people wouldn't have had the courage. Later that night, after everyone left and Sophia was asleep in her crib, no monitors or special equipment needed anymore, Ryan found me looking through old family photos. Regrets? Not one. I used to think family meant putting up with anything, that blood ties justified abuse. And now? I placed the photos in a box marked past and sealed it. Now I know better. Family is who keeps you safe, not who shares your DNA. Sophia deserves people who would never hurt her, even by accident. And so do I. At what point would you completely cut ties with toxic family members? If your parents or siblings endangered your child's life like Lena's did, would you give them another chance? Or was she right to enforce permanent boundaries despite their eventual apologies? If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button so more people can see it. Your comments help our community grow, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on toxic family dynamics. Don't forget to subscribe for more compelling stories about standing up to harmful behavior. Thanks for watching.